Wait until you see how cute these turned out. I have been making these cards forever and I thought it was time to record a video. So I'm going to show you this cute orange paper set, and then I have this green and spider web. So first you want to cut the colored sheet, whatever that's going to be on your card. You want to cut that just about 1/4 of an inch smaller so that there's a little bit of the card color all the way around. And then do not attach that yet, but then the next thing is you want a white piece that is about 1/4 of an inch, also smaller than the whole entire card. And once you have those cut, now you want to measure out your strips. So you want just a white piece of paper. You want it a little bit wider than the card itself because you're going to have them hang over, and then you're going to go back and trim that later. Now you want about 1.5 of the length of your card, so you make sure that you have enough strips. And then the next thing you're going to do is just crumple it up. So I try to keep it all facing the same way. Crumple it towards the center so it's not too hard to work with later, and then smooth it out. So super simple. Like I said, this is a good one for the kids to do. I just made sure I had crinkles kind of across the whole thing. And then when I was happy with it, I started at one side, and that one kind of had a tear, so I just really ripped that part off. And now the rest of your strips, you want them about 1/2 inch wide. Depending on your card size, this is those little A2 size cards, so I went with 1/2 inch. Super easy, just tear it down. You can make them a couple a little wider, a couple a little narrower ones to add a little bit of dimension to your card, but really it's a pretty simple process here, and just tear up this whole sheet. All right, super simple. And now the next step, now that you have all your little strips torn out, we're going to do some inking and then some distressing. So this little distressing tool, I got it years ago. I've been using it forever. It adds kind of that distressed edge to the side of your papers. So with this mummy being kind of a little spookier, we don't want it maybe as a precise, crisp edge on it. And this will add a little bit of that texture. So all you do, there's little blades between this, between all the little divots there, and you just run it across the paper and it creates kind of that weathered look. It's a little bit harder to see on this far away view with this camera, but I promise it does add a little bit to your card or scrapbook page or whatever paper product you're working on. Now we're going to work on our little mummy strips. So this is where we're going to add some inking to them and make them look a little more weathered, aged. I have just a brown one I'm going to use on this card, and slightly dip the dauber into your ink pad, and then I just brush it along the sides. And I do both sides on the top of it. And then I also go over the whole thing and kind of add on all the creases and crevices on the paper, just a little bit of ink right there. Super simple. Do that to all of your strips. You can tell there's usually a top or a bottom of the torn paper, and you can keep those kind of in line, but it's super easy to do this step. Again, this is a good one for the kids. You can make them as messy or as clean as you want. You don't even have to ink them at this stage. All right, now we have all those inked up. We're going to remove our inked up back sheet so it doesn't get on our card. Make sure that our card is opening the right way, because if you're anything like me, you've probably done that before. So I'm going to set that off and that one off to the side. And this is our smaller base. So we have our card that opens up, and then we have a colored sheet. Now you could do a black card in a green or orange, and then this is going to be our little mummy. Of course, I forgot to grab a tape runner. Now this part's pretty easy. Like I said, this is a fun one to do with kids or something like that. We are literally just going to put some tape on these and attach them to our card. So we do want, you do want them to hang over the edge a little bit. We're going to go back later and trim all that off, and it looks really cute. But so to start with, and I usually just kind of put a line of glue down the center, and then if I want to tuck some in, that kind of thing, you have a little bit of room. So I like to go a little bit of an angle, not too much, kind of picturing how maybe they would have wrapped the mummy. That is not one of my expertise, so we're just gonna kind of wing it, right? I'm gonna put that one down a little bit further. And this is really easy if you get going and then you're like, you know what, I need more strips. You definitely could do that. So I'm gonna go that one and leave a little bit of space over here. And then on the next one that I add, I'm gonna go the opposite. Oops, I'm gonna get the thicker part over there and then cover it up that way. And then I'm just gonna pivot this just a little bit so it covers that other corner there. Now this one has kind of a wider strip. So that one works really well, I think, for where you're gonna put the eyes, but you don't have to do that. I mean, it really works well. Either way, there's not like a right or a wrong way to do this. I do like where the eyes are to put that one down and then put one on top of it. I think it's just kind of a fun way to add a little dimension and kind of peek his eyes through there. And then we're gonna go like that. So look at that, one strip left. We're just gonna flip it over really easily. Just trim these off. If you wanted to leave the bottom just a little bit jagged, sometimes I've done that on them, but he looks really cute that way, I think. Where I picked this spider web paper, I thought that was kind of cute. Let's see, and these sticker eyes, I honestly don't even know where I got them. You know what? I think I got them from a friend of mine many years ago. We're gonna give him some sleepy eyes. Now, you could just take a marker and draw these on. You could just use like a black dot. You could, you know, this is cute. It's got eyelashes. Here's the full sheet. Let me show you those. And you could just, really, these are super simple to draw. So you could do something on there just with a Sharpie. So now we've got our little eyes. I'm gonna go ahead and add double-sided tape. I'm gonna attach him to my colored page. And you could just attach the mummy onto your onto your card base itself, but I think adding a little bit of a border kind of gives it a more of a dimensional look. And then for those two, I have grabbed my foam dots and I'm just gonna add these to the back of this. I'm gonna go one on each corner. And then he's kind of got a wider base here, so I'm gonna put one off to the side here and then off to the side there to kind of support him down the middle. And then we'll take these paper things off, which is kind of the hardest part of foam dots. And we will just flip that over and add that to our card. Now you could stamp something in the middle. You could do a little bow. All right, that reminded me that I had this ribbon that had little spiders on it. So I am going to just tie a normal bow like you would tie maybe your shoelaces. Probably would be easier if I were to cut the ribbon off of the spool, but I'm kind of cheap, so I want to save as much ribbon as I can. But I can't tell you how long I've had this ribbon and I have yet to use it. So maybe go like do as I say, not as I do. And then see, now I have to cut a little bit. I'm gonna fold this over and just, you know what, we're gonna go at an angle. And then probably right through that spider. But how funny is that? You could do something over on the side and it makes it look more like a girl mummy. You could add a little crooked smile, but usually the mummy's smiles are covered. So this is usually what I do. And then I go ahead and stamp or write something in the middle.